It's Matt.
What do you think of him as a writer, as compared to, let's say, OJ's writing, which is of course more personal?
OJ's is more emotional and more personal. Matt's is more abstract and really just general. I think. OJ's is filled with like emotions. It's really angsty at times. Really dark at other times. And I like his choice of words too. He's really good at picking a word that just hits you in the face. You know, something that I wouldn't have thought to use. I wouldn't have thought to even use that word at all. Matt, on the other hand, writes like, you know, complete sentences. Subject, verb, object, done. And a lot of times the sentences are just not really saying anything. They're really basic. I don't think he focuses more on his style though. His focus seems to be on the characters themselves, trying to develop those characters and their mindsets, like the Nazi doctor or the inspector and that other one. I don't remember his name, but they're kind of like the superhero, you know. It's not really about the plot per se, because the plot's the same every time. The superhero goes out and saves the day. You know what's going to happen, but it's about developing, you know, Superman over time. You know, developing his strengths and then his weakness to kryptonite, that type of thing. So that's how I would differentiate them. Matt seems to be more character oriented, and OJ seems to be more plot, stylistic oriented.
What about you? What kind of writer are you, in terms, you know, in relation to these guys? Because I remember you did an installment for the cell phone novel in the voice of Jeff, which never got really picked up, right?
Yeah, I don't even know what happened to that.
But how do you characterize yourself as a writer? I don't remember. I think Matt was telling me or talking to me about how you were showing some of your fiction to him.
Yeah. I've shown a few people, but I mean, I don't think it's really that good. It's just kind of like when I'm really bored and just I'm thinking about something. I'm thinking about, you know, like a character in another novel, or, you know, I always draw inspiration from other places, and I think that's kind of a cliche, everybody does, but I mean, my ideas really aren't that unique. It's just kind of something to do to pass the time. I mean, I have no aspirations of becoming a great novelist like maybe OJ does, or a great comic writer like maybe Matt does. But I think it's fun to just dabble in it. You know.
What's your great aspiration? To be what?
I want to just try and affect other people, maybe. That's part of the reason I want to become a teacher. It's like just being someone that is not necessarily respected, but someone to whom others go to for, you know, advice or just, you know, being there for people. I like that idea. And since academics is something that I've always done, why not be a teacher? Why not be there in the academic sense? Be there for them, for their academics. So, I don't know. It's when I'm trying to affect people through that.
Was that something that came like really early in your life, or something more recently discovered as a college student?
Well, I mean, I always thought that I might like that idea, but having done it now, at least to a certain degree,
teaching as
it's reinforced it. It's reinforced that old idea. And it's made me want to do it even more. Having been in the position already, been in a position of authority where you can get people to think about what they're writing, not just teach them how to write,
right?
Not just teach them grammar, but teach them interesting ways to use it, and hopefully be there as a guide for them, not just an information disseminator, but as a guide.
So you're kind of talking specifically to the experience you had this past semester.
Yeah.
Teacher to, you know, ESL students who want to improve their writing and so on.
Right.
What how did that experience affect you to improve your teaching? I mean, what did you learn the most about doing that? You know?
Let's see. Well, I learned first of all that there are many differences of opinions in the class between the students. So, one person, how they learn. I mean, I've always known that. I've always had that in the back of my head, like, well, certain people learn better visually, or certain people learn better audially, or others learn better with example. So I learned more of how to hone those skills, and myself, I learn best by example. So it's very easy for me to just come up with example sentences and things like that just off the top of my head, because that's how I learn. I imagine that's why it is. There's probably a correlation there somewhere. But I got better at finding different ways of giving that same information out, of helping them along, helping them to learn something new. Like, show a video clip, have them do some hands-on activities themselves, have them write a paragraph out. Don't worry about the grammar, just write it out. Free thinking, free writing. The grammar can come later.
Did that work out really well?
Yeah, it seemed to. I mean, I got people really interested in it, at least from my own perspective, and maybe they're not, but maybe they just want to pass. And that's probably the case with many of them. But and in my feeling, if I can reach out to even one or even a few people, then I will have satisfied my objective. I will have done something good.
It reminds me of what Henry Miller said to his fellow writer Lawrence Durrell, this English guy who thought his work was great, the best in the fucking world. And Durrell went on to become one of the more important novelists of his time too, and Alexandria Quartet and so on. And there's a letter that Miller wrote to Durrell saying that, Larry, even if there's only one fraction, like a circle, maybe 3 or 4 people who read you, who can understand you, who really feel like you're saying some good shit, it's worth it. The writing is worth it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it kind of reminds me of what you just said. But you said earlier, and I've heard you say this many times, that you're interested in doing graduate school. Now, the kind of teaching that you want to do, I know you're interested in linguistics, philosophy, things that maybe your brother may not, or a lot of people may not consider practical, but could be very edifying and, broaden people's horizons. What kind of teaching would you want to do in the future, after graduate work or during graduate work? And how is that kind of teaching different from the teaching you've done this past semester? Teaching how, students how to learn how to write English, good sentences, and so on.
The type of teaching I want to do, I mean, I don't even know if it really matters that much, whether I'm teaching philosophy or whether I'm teaching grammar, English grammar, or whether I'm teaching German or whatever, I don't think that really matters to me. Rather, it matters to me that I can strike someone's passion, that I can find someone in that class or in that throughout my teaching years, someone that I can really speak to, someone that I can really help along, and someone who doesn't really, maybe not necessarily knows what they're doing yet. Maybe they're just taking that class for the first time and they don't really know much about it. They're just, they heard from their buddy, maybe you should take some German, maybe you should take some philosophy, whatever I end up teaching. And then they take the class, and then I want them to come out of there saying, that person, that new person, I really like this, and I want to spark an interest.
Yeah.
Maybe not, teach them everything that they need to know, I don't know everything there is to know, so there's no way I could do that. But just giving someone an interest and a passion, lighting a fire, that's what I want to do.
Does this have something to do with, the earliest conversation I had with you last semester had to do with your, mentors in high school? German language teacher, English teacher, the guy who wrote God is Dead on the first day of class, right? I mean, did those guys really made such an impact on you that you said you want to do something similar at the college level?
Yeah. That's probably where I started thinking that I'd like to be a teacher. Before that, I'd always been interested in languages, so I figured, I'll just study languages. And, I am. That's part of it. And, that reinforced it along with the teaching that I did last semester.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm pretty sure now, yeah, I want to be a teacher.